The two notions of a strong national identity and national independence are inseparable. 1. Revoke any supranational authority that impedes on our sovereignty. The globalists see the United Nations, a proxy for the European Union, to dictate what they want to be considered as international law. The only laws in the United States of America are those of state governments and the federal government. Supranational treaties and other foisted agreements that impede on our sovereignty or that make us dependent on foreign countries will be immediately revoked. 2. Refuse any form of cultural colonization by the foreign. In the last century alone, the United States of America went from being an independent, sovereign, and culturally rich nation to being a vassalized landfill for the European Union, importing even the most marginal trends of subculture from Europe, Mexico, and Asia. We must refuse any cultural colonization from foreigners and renew our national heritage. 3. Adopt a strict stance on immigration and border security. The massive flood of illegal immigrants in our nation, an unprecedented invasion from foreign aliens, is the second biggest threat to our national identity after cultural colonization. Uncontrolled immigration is destructive to our economy as it creates unemployment and drives down wages for working Americans and for our national identity, as many illegal immigrants consider themselves foreigners first, Americans second, if at all. 4. Establish national preference. In all our foreign relations, the principle of national preference will be rigorously applied, meaning that Americans must benefit from privileges that cannot be accessed by foreigners. And while this principle is applied in every country of the world, including those of the European globalist crusaders, the mere mention of national preference is enough to offend the politically correct single-thought establishment. National preference is essential to our cultural identity and as a natural feeling. It establishes a sentiment of solidarity and community among compatriots, similar to the sentiment of unity that is shared by members of a family. 5. Prohibit foreign organizations from establishing themselves on our territory. Under the cover of promoting always more grandiose humanitarian causes, foreign organizations, associations, committees, and NGOs are tools of political subversion that have been exploited against the United States. All foreign organizations will be dismantled, and any internationalist group that uses charity to fund propaganda or political activism will be severely prosecuted. We negotiate every free trade treaty. Unilateral free trade, as is currently practiced in the USA, is not only destructive to our industrial prosperity and economic independence, it's also a threat to our national identity and collective fraternity. By encouraging businesses to rely on imports rather than create manufacturing jobs in our communities, national solidarity between all Americans is diminished in profit of societal animosity, which paves the way to class warfare, racial communitarian tensions, and other globalist-inflicted ailments. This problem will be addressed both in the ideological economic patriotism and fiscal tax reform spheres. 7. Promote American culture. Our common American culture is the expression of our national identity, and as such it must be preserved, protected, and promoted. The globalist ideology wants to destroy our national and regional cultures through global agendas, and what they can't destroy, they try to expropriate in the name of international heritage. 8. reserve the right to vote to Americans. The most fundamental aspect of any civilization is self-determination, meaning the ability for a nation to choose how it governs itself. This principle is constantly violated by the persistent and ideologically motivated inclusion of foreign elements in our electoral process. The right to vote will be preserved to American citizens, and voter fraud will be severely punished. 9. Prohibit multinationality. The admission of multinational residents on our territory poses a threat to our national identity and our sovereignty, especially when these residents are considered citizens by the media establishment and the successive governments. The idea of multinationalism is a geopolitical fallacy promoted by the globalists to weaken our national cohesion, and serves as a stepping stone to their constructivist agenda as a stateless citizen of the world. 10. Dismantle communitarian ghettos. Many large American cities, and now some rural areas as well, are infested with foreign ghettos, non-assimilated communities of residents, often illegal, who collectively claim their attachment or visually reveal their affiliation to other nations through the exposure of foreign symbols such as flags and banners. These communities within communities are an insult to American culture, destabilize neighboring districts, and pose a potential threat to national security and sovereignty. Any ghetto, community, or settlement that shows signs of foreign affiliation will be dismantled. Neighborhoods constituted on the basis of identical ethnicity, religion, or fraternal affiliation will be tolerated as long as they show no sign of foreign adherence and are assimilated to American culture. 11. Preserve regional and traditional American languages. While the institution of American English as the official language of the United States is paramount to the establishment of a true nationalist society, free from illegal immigration and foreign government influences, regional American languages, Cherokee, Simile, Muskogee, must be preserved and their use encouraged.